Hey, there's Bad Wabbit. Shalom. Good morning. What you up to this morning? I bet you are drinking coffee. I was trying to make a catchy title just because you have to type it in each time. And I typed one in a long time ago, and however it happened, it got set. And so it's this long title, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to have this same title for every single live stream. So I have to put them in there, and that's why I try to keep them short. But if any of the crew drop by, I figured they probably would be drinking coffee. There's 7 Heather 7. Shalom. Good morning. So, one, it's a gorgeous morning. It's just here. I'll show you real quick. Sunny, warm. I mean, this is not the best point of view, but and it's right outside my orchard area. Still janky, but the trees are blooming. The last one that I showed has the blooms, the little buds on it. And really it's time to prune everything, but this year I'm feeling a bit lazy. So if I do any pruning, I'll probably end up doing just minimal pruning. And I guess you'll be able to see me better if I spin this little. You see the sun? Oh, so bright. It's bright. No, that's about the same, isn't it? It's beautiful today, 72. A Ledwin mare's having tea. Looks gorgeous. How's the temps? The temps suddenly returned to what would be normal for our area. It's been kind of cool. I think we had a weekend that was in the 20s, but it's getting better. Lone Star living, going to be 78 here. The rest of the week, highs in the 70s. So the seasonal, whatever it is, affective disorder, or whatever that is, where if it's overcast, like you're just not feeling much energy, we definitely, I won't say suffered that, but I noticed a change in both PJ and Mai's attitude on days when it was overcast and cold. We were like, yeah, I think I'd rather stay inside by the fire kind of situation. And then like this morning when I get up, normally he's having coffee. I got up this morning and he was not even in the cottage. And so I thought it must be nice out. It's got to be nice out if he's already out. And so I stepped out on our front porch there, and sure as shooting, here he is getting water for his sheep at, 9 in the morning, when normally that's not true. And I immediately wanted to come outside too. So I wandered around and fed my chickens, which sometimes they wait till 11 in the morning to get fed. And then we both were like, let's go, let's walk, let's do the duck. So we came down here and he's off shooting a video, and I figured I wanted to say something about the video I did yesterday, the live stream. It's called Rollin', Rollin', Rollin'. And I put one of my crocuses, which are up right now, as the thumbnail. And many of you showed up yesterday, and that was really cool. See, winter night, there he is here in my corner of the world. I'm actually about to begin cooking for dinner. What are you having? Anyway, I was going to a meeting with some friends, and, you guys showed up for the thing, and we were having little conversations about meetings and how good they are for, especially women. I don't know if it's the same for men. I haven't seen a stat for that, but it's really good for women to get together with other women, which is no doubt a survival thing. It's no doubt that by cooperative sharing of tasks, women were able to continue their cultures and societies, even when the men, had gotten killed in wars or had gone exploring or whatever. So I think that just makes some kind of practical sense. Here goes the parade. Oh, they're wanting to go out. Oh, okay. Well, let me get the gate open. So anyway, if you stayed in the live stream through it all, a half hour long, near the end of it, a bunch of little kids, at least they claim to be kids, but several people came onto the live stream who were trolls. which very seldom happens with my live streams. It's usually my crew. You guys, we're pretty used to each other on the lives and everything, and they started commenting, silly things like, where you going, what are you doing, what's she talking about? And so several of you moderators had to get your little wrenches going, and we were actively, deleting them and stuff like that. Well, they shot the numbers of the live stream up just by being there. So even though they were being really annoying, the whole thing was actually a benefit for me, which I think is funny. I think it's hilarious. Um, and I got almost 40 subscribers. It might be those people. I have no idea, because trying to go through almost 8,000 of y'all, you know, scrolling through all the names and everything, it's just too much trouble for me to do that and try to see who they are and try to delete them from the channel or whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Modern phenomenon. Anyway, and I will read your comments here in a minute. That's why I decided to do another live today, just to say that yesterday's live, it just wound up being a lot better than I thought it would. And I appreciate all y'all who normally come, and especially my moderators who were having to really work it yesterday. All right. So, yeah, like Mr. Banana might be one of them. Anyway, let me go through your comments, because I love seeing what you guys are saying. I'm getting ready to go to Coffee with Neighbors every morning at 8:30. That's kind of fun. Shalom and Lone Star Living, who actually met PJ yesterday. And I was so jealous of PJ to get to meet Lone Star, and he said he's such a great guy. So that was really fun for me to hear. It really is so beautiful today. 72, we are supposed to get up. We came from Michigan. That seasonal weather thing is very real. We have never been so happy in winter as we are here in Oklahoma. And there's a guy on the Instagram, I forget, I'm a Nice Kid, that's his name. And he does reels about the weather in Oklahoma, how it can be like 4 different things in one day: super cold, thunderstormy, hot, and, windy or whatever. Good morning. SAD is pretty standard in our part of Michigan, too. That's what coffee's for. I remember when Starbucks first came to the Pacific Northwest, and I'm not a coffee drinker, so I could not get the, excitement that everybody had, but it sure helps with stuff like seasonal disorder. And up there was coffee everywhere. You could go to a baseball game and there'd be a coffee kiosk. You could go to your garden store and in the back they'd have a coffee kiosk. Like, they are so serious about coffee up there, and they need it. I take lots of vitamin D in the winter, twice what I do in the summer. For me, it makes a big difference. That's a good tip too. I guess this vitamin D thing is a thing. All right. Heading to Florida for some training. Should be nice there compared to New England. Yeah, I think you'll probably be pleasantly surprised. There's Lance Corporal Veteran. Good morning. My daughter really missed me while I was at ATS, and I wanted to stay home from school. She and I have already gone on a nice sunny walk. Aw, sweet. I love watching them waddle. They are so cute. I'm making a potato casserole with mozzarella and salami. We had an Italian wife married to a military guy come through, and I think she made that for us one Shabbat. It's definitely a tasty deal. I love ducks. Can't wait to get a couple. I missed the one live. I should have flexed the moderator ban hammer. Don't worry, it'll probably happen again. Keep your eyes peeled. Ugh, the trolls have been so awful for lives lately. The lives present on the phone like TikTok, where you can swipe through them, so the youngsters just swipe through and troll along the way. What are you doing in the woods? Like Tez. I'm sure Tez is one of those people. And chicken nuggets, too. Oh, well, that's good. What they meant for evil ended up for good. Yeah, and Mr. Banana's probably one, too. Hello. No such thing as bad press, I guess. And Liz Orvis. Oh, I'm not one of them. I just joined. Okay. I love the setting. Pretty. Yeah. I pretty much This is my favorite spot on our property, is this one. Just because it's my little corner. I get to do with it what I want, and I think I do a pretty nice job. In like the spring, it looks nicer, but I realize in the wintertime, like I do have a couple of things, little bits of trash and stuff around that I could do something with, and I have random square things. Let me show them to you. Like there's a metal cage right there, and there's a little black plastic thing right there. Now the barrel down there is protecting a tree, so that stays. But like I could arrange those better. And those plastic jug things, they're to put over top of plants to keep them from the cold, but I don't have anything I'm using it for right now. So I can, excuse me, I could tidy it up, and I probably will, but I get really lazy in the winter. Mr. Banana is the nicest guy ever, says Tez. Y'all judging for no reason. Hey, I haven't banned you yet, so there's no reason for you to get uppity. Sorry, that's not really a nice thing. To be upset. There is across the table with Bob. Shalom. How you doing there, young feller? I never thought of coffee as part of the solution, but I do come from Swedish folk, and our whole family drinks coffee 24/7 throughout most of the year. That's interesting, Mark. I mean, I'm saying that on a, I'm not promoting it as a medicinal thing. Like, I'm not a doctor. I just think if you are feeling undermotivated, if you drink something caffeinated, I know it makes you more motivated. So that's kind of where I'm basing it on. Yeah, yeah. There's two more. I wish I could remember the name of the hotel that had ducks that would parade every morning. I'm telling you what, there's just something about the little waddly and the honking. I love having background noise, and they provide a good one. Forest Ghost Preparedness. Shalom, bless y'all. Hi, Magic Indefatigable Girl. OPSEC. Oh boy. Ooh, there's a lot. I discovered we have a ton of henbed in our yard here in Oklahoma, and read it's very healthy to eat. Have you ever used henbed for eating? I sure have, Seven Heather. I put it in salads and stir fries. It doesn't have a very, what do you call it? It's not real flavorful of any sort, but it's fine. And so, yes, I've done it. I've eaten that. There's Scotty John. Shalom. What sort of farming thing are you doing today, Scotty John? You're always busy. And look at that. Lone Star Living now gets to wield his power. Woohoo! Daisy, obviously, I'm not Mr. Banana. Come on. You must be someone who's really, really bored if you're on this old lady's channel, because there's nothing exciting going on here. I'm just spending a little time. I expected PJ to go walking by when he got done, and I don't hear him, and I'm wondering if he snuck back to the cottage a different way. Have you started anything in the garden yet, or still too early? Yes, I have. I have started spinach, Brussels sprouts, onions. No, not onions. We have the kind that plant themselves. Turnips, and one other thing that I can't think of right now. Got strawberries. Oh, I planted peas yesterday. Yeah, I've got peas also started. It's not too early. Even when I lived in Kansas, farther north, I would have my potatoes in the ground by St. Patty's Day. Shalom! Greek Homestead. She's been posting some really cool photographs on Instagram lately. Yeah, the walking onions, yes. They're already there, so I don't have to plant them, but yeah. And there's one Brussels sprout plant still alive in that greenhouse. And the oregano, I've got an oregano plant that just loves being in there and has thrown off baby oregano plants. And then I also got a parsley that I did not expect to live over the winter, even with that hard freeze, and it threw off a bunch of baby plants last year, and at least 3 of them are alive and coming back up, so that's really cool. All right. All right, guys, here comes the parade again. All right, had a little dip in the pool. That last one, that green one, is just a baby. It and one of the other black ones were hatched out of eggs this past summer, so they're very young. I am still waiting for the ground to warm up enough to plant the pasture grass. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that has to wait here. I've got Milo, which is a variety of sorghum, by the way. I have Milo that I took a sorghum class from a master gardener in the area, and it cannot be planted until the ground is like 60 degrees. And so I'm probably not going to be able to plant that till June or July. It makes a difference. See? See, Lone Star? Like, there's a reason there's a saying. They walk like that. They waddle in a long line. They don't, I mean, they flock up too. But like when they're going places, because these guys are going from the pond down there, the mud puddle down there, up to where the food was thrown. When they do stuff like that, they are, all of them, just waddling one after the other. So if they're in a row, all is good, right? And if they have to flock up or fly, then something's up. Popping in to say hello. Hello, Travis. I was hoping to see you this past weekend, but you were busy, and whatever conversation we were going to have is just going to have to wait till we get to see each other in person. I hope everything's going well in your world. Oh, the male goose is starting to try to mate with the female, and she is not having it. She runs away from him, and I saw him fighting the other day. I'm like, we're not going to get more geese this way, guys. You need to learn to get along. Kids, what are you going to do with them? And Travis, do you have anything else? I mean, anything planted? Anybody else started their gardens? I'm teaching a national youth leadership course this summer. Lots of preparations. Wow. That is an honor right there. Wow. Excellent. The meeting was awesome. I was thinking about meetings too while I was sitting here waiting. And there can be any kind of meeting, right? You're doing a national leadership meeting, conference thing. I was thinking about people who have cats. And I'm going to start walking because I don't think PJ's coming back this way. But and I'm not a cat lover. We have cats incidentally, not because we intentionally wanted them. But I know there are people who love their cats. You know what I'm saying? Just absolutely, the kind of people who make their house cat friendly with the little climbs and jumps and scratch pads and everything. Going to a person who loves cats, going to a meeting with other people who love cats, come on, they're going to have a good time. They're going to talk about the cats and the food and the cat health and the cat carriers. And it's the same with anything. Guys who rebuild cars, guys who have automotive skills and use them to restore old cars or old trucks, or guys who like to invent stuff, guys who build little machines. If they all got together to talk about engines and fuel and lines and pressure and all that, they'd have a good time. So I used to be resistant to the idea that make yourself go to a meeting, because sometimes you don't feel like doing anything. But my husband, he's been saying the importance of it for years. And this year it finally, he kind of, between him and the statistics, I was like, all right, I'm going to open myself up to the idea of not dreading them. And there shouldn't be any reason that I would dread a meeting, other than sometimes I'm lazy and I just don't want to do anything. And so, like, the importance of and the benefits of make them worthwhile, at least in my opinion. Speaking of pets, my wife and I are thinking of getting a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Male or female for your first? Probably a female. The males have... Rhodesian Ridgebacks are very strong-minded. I'm going to sit down now because I can't... It's not because I'm out of breath or anything. It's just harder for me to read your comments if I'm moving. The female tends to be a little bit more submissive. They are still very strong and very strong-minded dogs. But Suka is a lot different than Hazak. She is much more dainty, is a way to put it. But I just want you to know, they need to be active. If you think you're going to have your Rhodesian Ridgeback in your apartment and just they're going to chill out all day long, that is not that dog. They need, especially when they're young, to get out and run around and chase things and get exhausted. And so if you have a house with land, it's a much better matchup than if you're a city dweller, unless you love walking around your city. If you love getting out and strolling around and going to the parks and the piazzas and everything, and you do it every day, then the Ridgeback will be fine for you. And they have a really nice, they love their owners, so if you get this dog, it's definitely going to love you guys. See you later, Bad Wabbit. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, I read that comment. She's not Amish, she's an off-grid homesteader. Let me go back to this great question. I have some seeds about to happen, tomatoes and peppers for starters. He always grows really good tomatoes. No gardens yet, but I'm expanding my knowledge. Sourdough starter and sharpening knives, good for you. What was the spray you used on your chicken scalped head a while back? Okay, that spray is called, it's either Scarlet Spray or Blue Coat, BLUKOTE, and they sell that at farm stores and online. Amazon sells it, and it works great. I've used it on my own self. All right. I tolerate my cat, right? I tolerate our cats. They have kept the mice population down, which I appreciate, but they also kill birds, which I don't love, and it's a good thing. They're very porch kitty-like, so, I know they can be out sleuthing and hunting, but as I get older, I'm thinking they're going to be more spending a lot of time on the porch. My wife fully believes when you buy a piece of property, you're automatically assigned a mouser. I think she's right. I think there's a little cat bureau, because my daughters who love cats research cats, and they tell me that the cats choose you. You don't choose the cat. So I think you're absolutely right about that. We just lost a pullet to an injury, very sad for it. We couldn't find vet care and tried to help her, but I think infection set in. Another thing about pullets, if they're young, is keeping them warm helps, and making sure they keep hydrated. Okay. Hey, Rock Lick Ranch. Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. Amish people use phones. I went to an Amish town. Our horse cart driver had a phone call. Okay, you're gonna go bye-bye. Stinging nettle is very high in protein. Young tender plants have less stings or tops in the summer, are best sauteed or in tea. You can also dehydrate it. I've dehydrated it and used it in food and in drinks, very high in vitamin C. It's coming up now, good for drying. The Now I cannot, I mean, I might be able to identify it when it's tender and young, but our plants up in Kansas, they were already up when we figured out it was stinging nettle. And after that, that's when I would go down, and I made a cream of stinging nettle soup that was absolutely delicious, and a hair tonic as well. So yes, it's starting to come up, and henbit, and then there's, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the other one. It's like a purple clover, and that's coming up soon too. You have a backyard, but I also definitely plan to walk the dog around and even go hiking with it. Yeah, they're perfect for that winter night. Until that dog turns 1, it's gonna need that constant exercise, and then as they get older, they still need it, but they're not near as squirrely without it. And they're food oriented, so like you have to train them not to get into your trash if you have a trash can. Maybe you don't, maybe you guys, deal with your trash in a different way, but they are very chewy too, so you want to make sure you have things for them to nom on while they're teething. Are Rhodesians originally hunting dogs or shepherd dogs? Because specific dog breeds need to live according to their DNA. They get bored and nervous. They are definitely chase a lion down dogs. They were a kind of hunting dog that didn't actually attack the lion. They just held it at bay. And so we have 2 of them. And you can tell, like, they don't actually bite each other. But when they run, they like leap over each other and like twirl around. And my dog chases the 4-wheeler and tries to bite the tires. I had him running with me yesterday. I was in the Terex and he was running easily at 22 miles an hour. He wasn't full out. I think they can go even faster than that. But they're very athletic. So like, he and his mom will race each other and then bump into each other and growl at each other and stuff like that and circle around and leap. But they very seldom bite. But when they do bite, they get serious fast. There was another dog here, great dog, but very aggressive. And the first time they met, that dog, that female dog, who was probably some sort of lab mix, beat up both my dogs. But the next time they got into a fight, and it was over food, our female dog knocked that dog over and was right over on top of her, biting her. And so, like, and my male dog just would growl at her. She'd come up to him and he'd look at her and he'd growl at her. And if she got too close, he'd bump her because he was bigger than her. He'd bump her with his shoulder. And she learned to like kind of leave him alone. But yeah, they get serious fast with a bitey, and so they don't herd the animals even now. And when they were a year old, they killed a lot of chickens and ducks for sport. Like the female would kill birds for sport and leave the bodies laying around. We made an exception because they're expensive dogs and whatnot, that we didn't get rid of them at that time. And now they don't do that. But I'm telling you, that first year, they are some squirrely daggone dogs. All right. Do you have any big homestead projects for the spring, summer you can talk about? Yep. I would very much like to get a duck house built up by our pond and use pallets. But right now, until the health issues get ironed out, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to commit to anything like that because I don't know what our schedule is going to be. But if I have time, that is my number 1 project, and to build some shelves in the cottage. I'm ready for a new garden adventure this year. Water catchment and burlap bags for the potatoes. Okay, yeah, the potato struggle is real. Like, I've done the tire thing, and the potatoes only grew in the middle of the tire. On the outside, like under the rim part, nothing grew that got too hot. If I were going to do something like the tire tower, I would paint all my tires white so it didn't get so hot in there. But I do an old Irish technique where you just turn over the sod, flip it towards the middle and plant in the middle, and that worked okay for me last year. It wasn't great, but I had plants that had potatoes, and to me that's a potato success. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so y'all, I am back at the house, so I am going to sign off. I appreciate all y'all coming in and sharing the morning with me, and I hope you have a very blessed day. Even the trolls. Thanks for jacking my numbers up. All right, bless y'all. Shalom.